Hello there, curious minds and headline hunters. Welcome back to another edition of Talk, Listen, and Discuss. Today is kind of just I don't know what you want to call it, just something I stumbled on. And I know that I recently did a video on Amy Bradley, and I'm really appreciative that people tuned in for that one, hoping that I can kind of get some attention on the Tamara Holknecht case in Wichita Falls, Texas. That is the case that you'll see a couple of videos I've done. Hasn't been getting any views, and I really would like it to. So if you have time after this, please just give it a try, because the case is very important to the family that still lives in the Wichita County area. That death is very mysterious. In fact, I'm going to do the last episode today, going over what I think could have possibly have happened based on a lot of the deep dives I've taken into material that was out there, and I just put it all together. Okay, so I would really appreciate that. I think the family would too. That case does not get any attention because I believe a body was found. They tend to move on from that. However, her death is very suspicious. There's a lot of incompetent medical examiner office stuff going on around that case, as well as the Wichita Falls Police Department at the time was just very strapped for resources and overwhelmed with the department and how it was functioning at the time. The community was in outrage because of the high crime and low response rates. So there was just a perfect storm for things just to be totally bungled. But the family deserves to have more action and a lot more answers than they have been given since 2007. It's a very interesting case, and it really does need to be brought to the forefront. But Amy Bradley's case does not have that problem. Amy Bradley's case has been highly visited and presented on a lot of podcasts and YouTube videos. I didn't know about it until I saw the Netflix documentary. And so it really compelled me to want to talk more over it, because I am of the school where the simplest solution is usually the one. I know that sounds a little bit contradictory, because in the Tamara Holknecht case, somebody could say I could apply it to that too, but that body is telling us something from the autopsy report. And for some reason, this major event in that autopsy is just being dismissed, when I believe that a lot of forensic examiners out there are still questioning why was this present in the autopsy, and why would you still consider that death to be accidental, knowing what you're looking at? That is not what we have in Amy Bradley's case. There was never a body found, and that leaves a lot of room for speculation and hope. So while I was doing some research for another case that I just came across today, it was the disappearance of Tammy Grogan. That case is very interesting to me too. I stumbled on that. It probably came up on my radar because of the Amy Bradley video. But what I found in this old article that I happened to come across, I haven't really seen it anywhere. In fact, I didn't see it anywhere, but I haven't really looked at every video that's out there about Amy Bradley. So somebody may have reported on it. But on the off chance that you haven't seen it, I'm going to go ahead and present this to you. I found it in styleweekly.com. It's a very old article. It's old, but the date that's on top of the headline is actually January 1st, 1980. So I know that's not right. What I'm thinking is that when they migrated the system over, it could have possibly have been that the dates or some of that information transferred over wrong. But inside the article itself, the dates are correct. So this article starts off in styleweekly.com. Amy Bradley disappeared from a Royal Caribbean cruise ship on March 24th, 1998. Believing she's been abducted, her family refuses to give up the search. That is the big, bold article. It's called Amy Interrupted. And they have the publisher listed as WebPub Pro. And this is how the article starts. The phone rang once. Since her daughter Amy's disappearance 9 days earlier, Ivor Bradley hadn't been in the habit of letting it ring any longer than that. She had transformed the family dining room where her husband Ron kept a desk for his insurance business into a command center with a new white trimline phone hooked up to a recently installed hotline number. World maps and photos of Amy were tacked on the walls. Updates and info on the search. On the other end was a middle-aged sounding man with a deep voice. He was speaking Spanish. Un momento, por favor, Iva said quickly, frantically waving to her younger brother, Paul Noblin, Noblin, who was also in the room. Okay, the man on the other said in a thick Spanish accent. It was to be the first promising lead in the puzzling disappearance of Amy Bradley. Now, I don't remember hearing that in the Netflix documentary, and the few Amy Bradley videos that I have seen, the commentaries, I haven't heard about this one either, about this lead. So this is the lead I wanted to share with you. It was to be the first promising lead in the puzzling disappearance of Amy Bradley, a vivacious, attractive 23-year-old from Chesterfield County, a 1996 graduate of Longwood College who was a star basketball player there and the only student in the school's history to receive a full athletic scholarship. The strange nature of the case has attracted national attention, even then, still now. From a front page story in the New York Times to the Lezza Show, Lezza, America's Most Wanted and Unsolved Mysteries, which is slated to air a segment on Amy on May 28th. Cosmopolitan magazine is also planning a piece on Amy. On March 24th, 1998, while on vacation with her mother, father, and brother Brad, Amy Bradley vanished from the Royal Caribbean cruise ship Rhapsody of the Seas, which was preparing to dock in Curacao. Her father, Ron Bradley, was the last to see her as she sat on a deck chair on the balcony of cabin number 8564, the family stateroom, at about 5:30 that morning. A massive 3-day search at sea turned up nothing. The Bradley family left the ship and flew home without Amy and with virtually no clues until the morning of April 12th, when the Spanish-speaking man called Iva Bradley. Iva's brother Paul hustled across the street of the Bradley suburban Chesterfield neighborhood to summon a close friend and neighbor of Iva's who speaks Spanish. Within minutes, the woman was sitting at Iva's desk talking to the Spanish-speaking man and hurriedly taking notes. Though her friend was speaking and writing in Spanish, Iva could tell from the excited sound of the woman's voice that the man must be saying something important. If true, what the man said was not only important but explosive. According to a lawsuit the Bradleys filed against Royal Caribbean Cruises Ltd. last month, alleging negligent security and other charges, the Spanish-speaking man told Iva's friend that he saw Amy 4 days after her disappearance, being forced into a taxicab at the terminal at San Juan, Puerto Rico, shortly after Rhapsody of the Seas docked there on March 28, 1998, the day that should have been the last of the family's aborted week-long cruise. Providing previously unpublished details not mentioned in the lawsuit, Bradley's lawyers say the witness was a Puerto Rican local who was studying to be a police officer. He called Iva Bradley after seeing a story about Amy on Puerto Rican television and recognizing her photo as the woman he had seen just days before. It was a clear day and she passed right by the witness, Hall says of the Puerto Rican man's account. She was firmly held. Her appearance was not that of a happy person, to say the least. The witness thought they were fighting. They didn't look like they were getting along, like they were disagreeing. The witness said the man in the ball cap then guided a disoriented-looking Amy into a taxi, leading her much like a policeman would direct a suspect into the backseat of a squad car, according to Hall. Hall won't say more about the alleged abductor or the eyewitness for fear of harming the investigation. He says, though he adds there is a suspect in Amy's disappearance. Hall won't say more about the alleged abductor or the eyewitness for fear of harming the investigation, he says, though he adds there is a suspect in Amy's disappearance. So what happened? And if Amy was abducted and there's a suspect and a witness, why hasn't there been an arrest? For starters, the Bradleys called the FBI agents in St. Thomas investigating Amy's disappearance and faxed them the Puerto Rican witness's name and number. More than 8 months later, the Bradleys learned the FBI agents never interviewed the man. Despite records, the Bradleys have proven, I think they meant have proven, they sent the information. The FBI denied ever receiving the lead, Iva Bradley says. U.S. Department of Justice agents working with the Interpol family interviewed the witness early this year. In a photo lineup, he positively identified Amy as the woman he saw last April. Hall will not say if the man identified a suspect. So just based on that, it seems like this would have been a year after Amy went missing. So if that was in 1998, then this would be 1999. We had lost time because leads were not followed up. We were told the FBI would leave no stone unturned. Ivor Bradley says angrily, we were confident that they were contacting the witness, following the lead, and tending to everything. A spokesman with the FBI office in San Juan says they cannot comment on pending investigations, but says they are following all pertinent leads and are doing everything we can do to solve the case. Instead, possibly because whatever happened to Amy began in international waters, the Bradleys have found themselves negotiating a bureaucratic labyrinth as they search for an answer to Amy's disappearance. They get no help from the FBI, they say. They have written congressmen, foreign officials, and even the president. The only promising response they received was a personal letter from Newt Gingrich, who promised to ask FBI Director Louis Freeh to intervene and assist the family. That is Louis Freeh, to intervene and assist the family personally. Freeh never called. Since then, the family has taken matters into its own hands, hiring private detectives and manning websites and a 24-hour phone hotline. They secured commitments for a $260,000 reward for information leading to her safe return. To date, they've spent more than $85,000 of their own money selling their Honda Accord, for example, to fund one of the 6 searches in the Caribbean since Amy's disappearance. They even funded a trip for investigators to go back aboard the Rhapsody of the Seas. They're raising more money for the search through contributions to a trust fund. Despite the long months that have passed, Amy's family holds firm to their belief that she is still alive and being held against her will. They will find her, they say, and when she returns, March 24th, 1998, will only be a bad memory and not the haunting mystery that fuels every waking minute of their lives. So with this article, we see that there was a lot of coverage between 1998 and 1999 alone. That family was working hard to find where Amy was, and I believe it was during this time that they would also be defrauded out of their money by that Navy SEAL who said that he and his team were going to search diligently and the way they knew how to find Amy. And it turns out that he was just lying. He scammed the family. He scammed the people that he had brought in to help search. He never paid them. They never did all the activities they said they did. It was a big fraud. So that and this story, I believe, was not presented in the Netflix documentary. So I know Netflix couldn't put everything in there. I just want to know why they left this one out, because it seems like a pretty fresh eyewitness account. So if you all have seen this story, have heard it somewhere else, would you please in your comments link this to where I could find another source? I'm going to try my hardest after I load this video to do more research, but I'm still working on the Tamara Holknecht story, how to finish it up, because it means a lot to me and I want to make sure that I get the ending right. So again, if you have time after this, please give that Tamara Holknecht video. There's 3 of them, but if you get that last one that I just uploaded, it should be able to catch you up where you need to be, as well as lead you into the video that's going to come up on the conclusion of what I believe happened based on information that's out there. And I also am going to provide a tribute to Tamara's mom and make sure that I give some sense of her love for Tamara and the love that Tamara left here on earth, because really Tamara and all the people that we talk about, they're somebody's loved one. And we need to remember that there's somebody's loved one. And I would really like for us to give that moment to the mom and to the family, because I know if we were them, we would want that too. So again, thank you for watching. And if you get to watch this, please give me some feedback. Also, please just put in those comments any links to this story here if you can find something that supports it. Take care of yourselves, take care of one another, and God bless you. And until next time, take care. Bye.